Hello everyone and welcome to Sorta My Update, the show where we fit in what we couldn't in Sorta My Podcast. My name is Vincent Herman, Vin the Human.
James Odle, Alpha Spectre.
And Bob Collins will not be joining us today because he didn't see the movie yet. And this is the one we've been waiting
Oh my god,
for over a year.
For over a year for this shit.
And at least the last 2 hours, Odle's been going stir crazy. Alpha Spectre can't get enough, trying to get to this recording. So not wasting any time, Spider-Man Homecoming is the subject, if you could read the title.
If you couldn't read the title, now you know what it is.
I'm thinking of calling it something like, Sort of My Update, and Homecoming went and came.
Homecoming came home.
Homecoming came home. Yeah. That's not bad. It's a little symbolic because he did come home to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But anyways, Spider-Man Homecoming is the story of Peter Parker. It shows a little... before I say this, spoilers. There's
everywhere, spoilers.
There are going to be spoilers in this review. You're listening to this to either find out what we thought about it or because you've been watching all of the TV spots so you don't care if shit gets ruined for you. Which I did not. I skipped everything after the third trailer.
Oh man, and there were a couple of things that were late in the movie.
Yeah.
But
the TV spots. I don't know. I don't know what was in them because I just did not watch them. And then they had 5 fucking trailers.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch all of them. After a while, it was just obvious that I was you need to wait to see the movie.
Yeah.
Dude. So, but anyways, it is the story of Peter Parker a little before Civil War, a little during Civil War, and mostly right after Civil War, a couple months.
And now keep in mind, this isn't our Peter Parker origin story becoming Spider-Man. We know that story.
Yeah.
And they made this knowing that we know that story.
And my son, I took my son, Vin, to see this movie. He actually commented after. He was like, yeah, but why didn't they show, him learning how to use his powers and stuff? And I was like, well, buddy, we've seen that before. If you want to see him learn to use his powers, it's 20 comics. There's 2 movies. I was like, we've seen that. We don't need to see that anymore. So, yeah, they do it. They talk about it a little bit. They talk about the spider for a few seconds while he's talking to Not Gonke.
I like that. Not Gonke.
But anyways, it is the story of Spider-Man coming into his own as a full-fledged hero. It's really cool. Let's go ahead and we'll go down the little thing that I have here. I've got a little outline because I'm trying to be a little more professional, and we'll talk about the story and the tie-ins to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The story, I think, solid.
Oh, absolutely.
From beginning to end, easy. That's an easy call with it being the production being run by Marvel Studios, which is why the advertising campaign is so oversaturated and fucked up because that was Sony.
Yeah.
But luckily Marvel handled the story and it's really solid. Going all the way back to the first Avengers. This movie starts somewhere around just after the first Avengers, introducing damage control.
Yes, I loved that.
That is it's obscure for the moviegoers, but for Marvel Comics fans,
that's we know what that is.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
And I didn't even get who they were right away, until later when Michael Keaton says damage control. I was like, oh shit, that was damage control.
Yeah, no, I got that right off the bat because they were the something of damage control, and I'm like, it's damage control. It's damage control. And
I didn't catch them making that little
in the theater
thing. Yeah.
Well, because right when they roll up and it shows their banner, and it's the department or something damage control was on the bottom.
The Department of Damage Control. Yeah.
I love that right off the bat.
The Michael Keaton punches one of them in the face.
and also it put that right there just puts the rest. It's shit happens in this world all the time.
And bringing that to the second half of this first topic, the tie-ins to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One thing that could be easily argued was that people might have been worried about exactly how much this plugs into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, we've got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Yeah.
Happy Hogan. But, like, to how in-depth this was ingrained. Marvel may have, like, played it down at Sony's request so Sony could pull out at any time.
Oh,
they wanted
no.
to. But no, yeah. They are dug the fuck in there.
Like, there is no getting out of this for Sony without, like, fucking things up.
They bring up the Sokovia Accords. It's got Captain America in it. Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts.
Yeah.
Or Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts.
I want to take a minute to appreciate the fact that they finally brought Pepper back.
Right. And they're no longer on a break as they were in Civil War. It's definitely dug in there. Age of Ultron is a part of it. They have an Ultron drone head at one point.
One of the weapons was like an Ultron drone arm.
Yep.
Like one of the weapons they were test firing.
And we were actually speculating on the Shocker's gauntlet that it was.
It could be Crossbones.
It looks exactly like Crossbones.
Yeah, like the way that he activates it.
Yeah.
It could have been, like, they could have gotten that somehow, or
and then
modified it.
Yeah, they have the Tinkerer with them.
Right.
Like, not so, like, he's never called the Tinkerer, I don't think, but
I can't remember if he's
totally
credited. I think he might be credited as the Tinkerer.
Totally the Tinkerer, though. Maybe he modified it and stuff. And this is just, like, these are the things that are for the Marvel Comics fans.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff that you don't need them to say it. We put it together.
Yeah.
And for, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe going fans, they probably wouldn't think about it this deeply. They probably wouldn't have been like, oh, that's Crossbones shit. Some of them probably didn't even see Civil War. So, yeah, they did a real good job of digging this thing in. It is definitely a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for sure. Like, the only way out of that is to reboot. Which, like, don't feel secure with
Sony.
Don't feel secure with this one being dug in just because it is Sony. And they'll do whatever the hell they want. But they are talking Homecoming 2, which I really hope is not the title.
I don't think it's good. Well, no, because remember, Tom Holland slipped and said it's not going to be Homecoming 2.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't check that shit out.
Tom Holland cannot keep a secret to save his life.
I did see that they won't let him see the script for Infinity War.
I can't remember. I think we were talking about this in a serious shit or something. He's not allowed to have information now because he slips in interviews. So, but that's how we know that
there's someone else who's like that too. Oh, Carrie Fisher was like that.
Yeah.
She couldn't be trusted with that shit.
So thanks to Tom Holland, we know that there is a second and third Spider-Man movie that works.
Well,
not going to be titled Homecoming.
And I take the third with a grain of salt, but with the success of this one, and the success of him being in Civil War, number 2 is imminent. I trust in number 2, and they're saying it's going to take place just like
it's gonna end
hours after Infinity War.
Yeah, because the next Spider-Man movie is supposed to end like this current 22 movie arc the MCU has going and begin the next one.
Yeah.
So
what would be Phase 5, right?
I think so.
Are they going to call it Phase 5 or are they going to call it Volume 2?
They might go something like Volume 2. Because, think about what all, like, the second Spider-Man movie is going to be able to set up. It's going to take place after Infinity War.
Yeah.
So we have this whole slew of new characters. We have new Avengers.
This may very well be the way that they bring in the Netflix shows, the lower level stuff, because everyone wants them to do that, and they've listened to the fans for the most part,
and they've even stated that it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to cross over.
Spider-Man being the more street level hero, like he meshes perfectly. Like that's why he's had so many crossovers with the Punisher, Daredevil, and this is in the comics, and all these other street level heroes. that they could easily transition that way
Absolutely.
through Spider-Man. So that would be really, really cool. I'd love to see that. I'm excited to see whatever they're coming up with next. Because it's going to be a whole new world. And these actors are getting older. They're getting tired of the roles. Robert Downey Jr. has stated already that, like, he admitted he flip-flops a lot. Like, he hangs up and then he does it again and stuff. But he also knows that he can't do it forever. Eventually, Tony Stark's going to be 60. And he doesn't want to see that on screen, so he's not going to play that out.
Like you got to think though, there's all these stories out there that they could do. Like they could bring in the Skrulls in this next arc.
I mean, like we could pick and choose big event like multiple character spanning things, but I mean there are just other stories. So it's the death of Captain America, where Buffy the Vampire Slayer becomes Captain America. Oh man, I'd pay to see that.
Rumors are not Buffy, but Bucky. Rumors are that's what they're working towards.
And then you've got armor. There's armor wars. They've left it open to where the Mandarin could be another thing again.
Yeah.
Like, because, yes, the Mandarin was a decoy thing, but they also didn't necessarily discount what the Mandarin actually is in the comics, so that could still be a thing.
Yeah, there's a lot still open for them to go into.
Yeah.
But let's reel it back in
right.
talk about the
This is not about the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. Let's talk about just Spider-Man. So, how did you feel about the story? How did you, like...
Overall, I really liked it. From character development for all of them through the movie,
and we'll get back to the characters a little later.
Right, to like the visuals, like how everything portrayed, like how like small things just circle around related to other things throughout the course of the movie. Like everything intertwines so well in this movie.
And it's I think the easier thing is to point out how this meshes with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and hinge the story on that and the Vulture.
Yeah.
Really, some of the best stuff I think that comes from this movie is the high school stuff. And not just the stuff that actually happens in the high school. It's just like the...
being a high school.
Yeah, just Peter Parker dealing with being in high school and being a superhero and trying to impress Tony Stark and like...
trying to... like having a crush on this girl.
Yeah, right? He's got these like whole... They provided these layers so perfectly the way we've always wanted them from Spider-Man. Yeah. There's that scene, and I caught my son like smirking at it. There's that scene where he asks her to the homecoming dance, and it's not Spider-Man-esque. It's two fucking teenagers. It's just
shit.
Yeah, it's so awkward, but not like, because he's a nerd awkward. It's awkward because they're fucking hormones and they don't know how to ask each other and shit.
He's like, okay, cool, and starts backing away. He's like, oh wait, I'm going this way. Like that's just it was that scene was perfectly innocent and portrayed so well as two high schoolers.
It's so great the way that. And the twist towards the end. Do we want because if we do talk about it, it'll be later. But do we want to spoil the twist? The twist, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Takes place in
a car.
Because I didn't see it coming.
Right.
And it happened, and I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
I actually out loud in the theater. I'm like, oh shit.
And it's so like. Yeah, they don't give it away. Like, no. Honestly, like if you walk out saying, "Oh, I totally called that,"
you're full of shit.
Well, you're kind of full of shit, but you're only full of shit because you randomly grasped at straws, hoping that one of your criticisms would be right. You had no fucking clue based on anything the movie gave you, because there's no way.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way.
Yeah.
I don't know, because
it's
a pretty key part of this movie.
Yeah, so let's not. It's not necessary for the review. It's not necessary. It's really there as a plot device to tighten the story.
Yeah,
and so
it does such a good job.
Yeah, let's not.
We won't reveal the twist.
All right. So not total spoilers. Oh. Anyways,
lucky you.
Right? I love the story for those aspects of the whole high school stuff, which leads to the homecoming dance and all that. But really, what is a story without well-built characters to move it along?
And there were so many.
There are tons. There's so many great characters. And not like... I shouldn't say tons like it was Civil War, or tons like fucking Infinity War is gonna be...
Like, you've got to be embedded. Like, you've got to have your knowledge.
You've got to have your knowledge to know exactly who they are, but you don't have to have that comic book knowledge to
enjoy it.
To enjoy them, to say like, oh, okay, well, this guy had something to say. So it's a really great blend between the moviegoers and the comic readers.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can enjoy it with no knowledge of, like, Spider-Man, any of his affiliates.
And I shouldn't say it's rare for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's also, like, not often. Like, Civil War, if you walk into Civil War and you haven't seen the other movies and you're not really aware... If you haven't
seen Ant-Man,
you're
going to be like, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, and you're not really aware of the comics, some of these characters' stories, you will be a little lost.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the movie for everyone. It's the movie for those who have prepared for it.
Right.
Like Infinity War will be. Anyone who walks into Infinity War blind is going to be totally fucking lost.
Yep.
So, but this is not that movie. This is for everyone.
You want to go see a movie, you just pick this one, you can go and enjoy it.
So let's go down the line here. We've got Tom Holland Spider-Man. Does he bring to the character in this movie what we experienced in Civil War?
I think he brings more.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I say that is because I really liked the vlog kind of thing he was doing in the beginning.
Because the teaser trailer was like this like self-recorded footage of like, I've got the suit, blah, blah, and then Happy Hogan comes in. And then it turns out that wasn't just bullshit for the teaser trailer. That's actually a part of the fucking movie. He's doing his own personal vlog.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't put it up online or anything, but yeah, he's recording all this other shit.
And, like, he's recording during the battle at the airport.
And speaking of character development, they recently announced that Peter Parker has been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I saw that. It's the little boy that
in
Tony Stark saves.
At the Stark Expo that happens in Queens. And if you watch during that during the footage, that big like metal globe thing during the Stark Expo that they end up fighting through and shit, during one of his little vlog videos, you see that like out in the distance, you see the top half of it and shit. Oh. Yeah, so they tied it together like it's so good. Yeah, I agree though. He did bring more to it because in Civil War we only get to see the excited like newbie Spider-Man. He's got a brand new suit. He's there fighting Captain America, like for the first, and this is the first time he's seen Captain America. So yeah, like there's a very different type of attitude that goes into a lot of these different scenes. But with everything he does in this movie, from the awkward moments to the moments where he's comfortable interacting with Ned, not Gonke, not Gonke, the sweeter moments with Aunt May, like it really depends on who he's in the scene with, depends on the Peter Parker we get, and that's so indicative. Is that the word I'm looking for?
We'll go with it.
All right. Anyways, it's so much like the comics because there are so many different facets to Peter Parker.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, this really does, like, I feel, encompass teenage high schooler. Not years into his powers, but like into them enough to be comfortable with them.
So let's move into Aunt May here. You just mentioned her.
I'll move into Aunt May.
Oh.
Which
a running joke during this, is how hot Aunt May is.
Right. But what I loved is, you know, they're in the limo. Peter and Tony are in the limo, and he's like, hey,
he's doing the vlog.
Video. He's like, hey, Aunt May, what are you wearing? Something skimpy, I hope. No,
we'll restart. Yeah. No, it's a running joke how hot Aunt May is, and she plays like obviously her life is devoted to being Peter Parker's mother, more or less. Yeah. And you see that like through the way she interacts with him. It's not exactly like a mother, but it's an extremely nurturing aunt, like the next level aunt. and they need each other. You can feel that,
like
too.
the way that he reacts to certain things. He's like the biggest reason he doesn't want Ant-Man to know. With everything she's been through, she doesn't need that.
Which will that little statement right there will bring me back to something here in a moment. But you're right. Just the choices he makes sometimes are based solely around his Aunt May.
Yeah,
and what it'll do to her. Moving on from Aunt May, let's not talk about Iron Man at all. Iron Man is Iron Man. He's Iron Man. He plays a somewhat of a mentor role by accident.
Yeah.
Purely
by accident.
That's all I care to say really about that. He's an accidental mentor during this movie. Vulture, which I was
great.
I was also a little ashamed during this movie because my son did not realize that was Batman, and he's like, "Oh." I just went back to watching the movie.
Right.
I was like, that doesn't get a reaction? What the hell?
This was a great portrayal of Toombs and Vulture.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate the costume.
Now, we should say this. It is totally different than the comics Vulture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is not your grandpa's Vulture.
This isn't like your Mr. Burns looking motherfucker in a green wingsuit.
Not that would have been necessarily bad if done the right way, but this definitely fits way more into the Marvel Cinematic Universe than anything else. Yeah. This is really the only way you could introduce a Vulture to this universe.
It's super techie,
which only works with the Tinkerer there, because this guy, he wouldn't have figured this shit out.
Oh God,
no. But and then he's got the bomber's jacket
with the extra
fuzzy
and it makes
neckline.
It look like it's a very, very good homage to the original Vulture.
Absolutely, and of course the rig that helps him fly is green and stuff. More than that, though, just like the Vulture, I feel is this suit. Michael Keaton brings something to this role that is, again, it's a layered. Yeah, it's very layered because you get to see him
late in the movie how layered.
You get to see him in different interactions with different people that help show that he is a human being. He's not totally evil or something.
Right in the very beginning of the movie, he's leading a salvage crew, taking apart the giant alien from the first Avengers movie.
These are construction guys. These are non-union construction guys. They're doing a job they got hired to do.
Yeah, and damage control comes in. They're like, this is under our jurisdiction now. You guys get out. Leave any exotic materials you found. And he's like, I got all this machinery. I got a whole new crew.
I bought all these trucks.
They all have families. I have a family.
Yeah.
And she's just very cold. There's nothing, there's nothing I can do. Yeah. And walks away. And you see that get to him.
I mean, we're talking Michael Keaton here. So we're not talking about a bad actor by a long shot. So he can definitely portray these different emotions. And then later on they have this last truckload that they need to bring to damage control. And he's like, nah, let's keep it. And you get that little attitude from him. And then later down the line, they've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah.
So, which kind of brings in the question, did Avengers happen in 2009 and not 2012? Who knows? And then it's threatened by one of his guys. Because one of his guys doesn't want to play by the rules. And he ends up getting killed. We won't say who this is.
Right.
He ends up getting killed, and you can see the conflict. You can see the conflict a little bit. For a moment there, he's like, "Holy! I thought this was the anti-gravity gun."
No, that's over there.
And you can see him think about it for a moment because he's trying to figure out, in that scene, he's trying to figure out why he doesn't feel bad that he just killed a person, and then he just moves on from it because he's also a fast thinker.
And he's not a stupid guy. He realizes that's who he is.
Yeah, he's not a stupid guy. He realizes, well, okay, I'm capable of this. All right. So they move on from that. Yeah, he played a very convincing villain. in the way Michael Keaton can. And I saw this during the RoboCop movie.
Yeah.
During RoboCop. He is very good at being intimidating, especially these days. Like, he has this look about him that's really threatening.
It is.
And he plays really well on that in this movie. More than RoboCop.
Because in RoboCop, he didn't have a badass vulture suit.
But still, he was kind of like, in that movie, I felt he was pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's bring up some of the side characters. MJ. And I don't care to spoil this reveal. Everyone already knows it. Zendaya, which is one word.
Now, here's my thing. You find out at the end of the movie that her friends call her MJ.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, MJ was Peter's love interest for
Mary
Jane.
Jane Watson.
We don't find out her last name.
No, we do. It's I think it's Johnson.
Okay.
That's where the J comes from.
Okay. Yeah. So that being said,
Michelle Johnson.
This is not Mary Jane.
No, but that doesn't mean they haven't transplanted. Like, that doesn't mean we're gonna get a Mary Jane later on.
They gave us the MJ.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little nod, and the way that like she looks at Peter when he walks away, like you can see that like I like him. Look.
Yeah. Well, one of the weaker things on this film, like if they were trying to make it subtle at all, is early on you get that. Like from the very first time you see her, which is that part in the trailers, you get it. And so this could be their Mary Jane.
It could.
Or they could.
I hope it's not.
They could always introduce a Mary Jane Watson later.
Because there are some things that they've been so set for years that you don't really mess with. And the redhead Mary Jane Watson is one of those things that I feel like you shouldn't mess with.
They could go that route. Because, and this brings us into the next character I want to talk about, Flash Thompson. They have obviously not shied away from changing and updating characters.
Right.
And we've seen Mary Jane. Although I don't think Kirsten Dunst was like the quintessential Mary Jane Watson or anything. Like, we know the character. And it would be nice to have a decent on-screen portrayal, but if they were to change it right now, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Just Zendaya is kind of weird. Too weird.
Yeah,
she's one of the weaker characters for sure in this whole thing. And sadly, one of the ones that excited my son the most, because she's a Disney Channel alum. She's on some show on the Disney Channel. That's all I know there.
But Flash
Thompson, yes, very updated for the time.
Yeah, like he's like what, Indian?
Well, I'm not trying to be that like who cares about his race kind of guy, but like that's not really what they updated about him. Like in this day and age, bullies are different. Well, I don't think we've moved past the jock who picks on the nerdy kids, but at the same time, like, you don't have to be the muscle-bound fucking track star to actually screw with somebody. All you have to do is be a keyboard warrior, a dick with some money. Yeah.
As I say, like, at the party, he's a DJ, and he has everyone at the party. When I say penis, you say Parker.
That's
calling him
so
Penis Parker.
Uncreative, and I love that because like Flash Thompson has never been the greatest at like insulting Peter Parker, but it's still somehow effective with the masses.
Yeah, but overall, like I enjoyed Flash.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Flash Thompson.
It was one of those things that I thought would bother me, but it really didn't. It really is this generation's bully.
Yeah.
And they played it to a T. They perfectly encapsulated what Flash Thompson would be to Peter Parker in 2017.
Yeah. Character-wise, I have no problems.
Yeah, I dig it. Shockers.
And I love it how Michael Keaton is like, Tony is like, oh, you're the shocker. The shocker.
And he's making fun of him for coming up with the nickname and everything.
Yeah.
Both have these. The second one less so than the first, but their costumes, they're
very
what they're wearing. Yeah, they're very shockers. The first one has like a brown...
The brown vest.
Well, I don't know what that thing. And then
and
he's
the
got
yellow arms.
Yeah, the layered yellow arms.
Which are like, they have like the diamond pattern on them to look like the original shot.
Yeah.
Like,
and I swear to God, I saw a behind the scenes picture like way early on with a Shocker in the mask. Maybe they did some reshoots or something, but I could have swore I saw that. Anyways, when they move on to the second one, he's mostly wearing black, but the forearm to the wrist is kind of that diamond pattern. But yeah, Shocker, I don't care.
He was downplayed quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's there for the potential use for like a Sinister Six storyline.
He's not an epic Spider-Man villain either.
No,
he's an early days or like a one-off issue type Spider-Man villain.
He pops up here and there. He's taken down,
and it's not bad. Like the way they portray him is not terrible. It's obviously not Shocker that we all know from the comics, but it's just I don't care. He's there.
Yeah,
he's there. I like that he's there. And that's good enough.
Yeah.
So, moving on from the characters, visuals, effects, what did you think? I think there could have been more practical, but I don't know how. That's the problem. I feel like it's missing some of that practicality, but honestly, at first, like...
For what it is,
seeing it for the first time, I couldn't tell you.
And I'm with you. I don't know where they really could have fit in more practical style effects. What they had in there, like, I thought was great. Yeah. Like, you had...
Well, they got that Marvel money. Or they got the Disney money.
Yeah.
And that Marvel money.
So, so we're sitting here, we're watching this, and it's like everything, it just looks great. Through and through looks great. You're never disappointed watching this movie. Right.
And there were never really any moments that I felt like it looked fake. Maybe around the first time the Vulture comes down and gets Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
when he's honestly, going through the neighborhoods and shit.
Honestly, you know what I felt was probably the most fake looking thing was the parachute.
Yeah.
The parachute was probably the most obvious
until
CG.
It hits the water. In the water it looked good. In the air it did not. And then him going through the neighborhoods and stuff. Yeah. Really great John Hughes-esque type situation.
Like, but can we really appreciate the fact that when he's
the Ferris Bueller?
Well, no, not the Ferris Bueller. Yeah. When like he's trying to chase the Vulture down, like after he bails on the party,
no, he's chasing the van down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's at this golf course and he goes to like shoot away, there's nothing around for him to grab.
And he's like, this sucks.
As he's running across. And it's like, that has always been something that I feel like fans, like playing the games and like everything else, like we're all like, what the fuck are we web slinging on? In the city, there's buildings and all kinds of stuff everywhere.
That's kind of the thing they play on. And I can't say that this is definitely a reference, but it's been said before by those who have written it and Marvel executives that if Spider-Man is swinging through the city and you're not really sure what he just attached his web to, just assume that there's a helicopter there. And in DC... how does he get through that window? He jumps over the helicopter and swings around it. So that's more or less what they did there. But there are no helicopters at the golf course. So I think it looks good. But ultimately, the bulk of this 2 hour and 15 minutes, it looks really, really great. And this movie does a lot of references, but there are only really two that I want to talk about. Donald Glover, who you pointed out to me before was Prowler.
Yeah, was it Aaron Davis?
Yeah, and I already knew was Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah, because when Peter goes to confront him later, like after he unlocks the suit and they track him in, which I love the voice.
the interrogation mode.
Yes.
Yeah. And come to think of it, Prowler was a reformed criminal.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Yeah. And there's that part right at the end. He's like, he's like, that's going to dissolve in like 2 hours because he leaves him webbed to the trunk of that car. He's like, no, you need to deal with this now. He's like, no, you deserve it. You're a criminal. Bye. Sorry, but you deserve it.
He's like, man, I got ice cream in here. Like, that kind of actually made me feel bad for him.
I felt bad about the ice cream a little bit. Not for him, but yeah, for the ice cream. And this doesn't mean we're going to get Miles Morales.
Right.
It doesn't mean we're going to get Prowler. Yeah, it's possible. And it's a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Like if they... Because I don't know if Sony owns Miles Morales as well.
I don't know if they do or not.
If this whole Tom Holland thing runs its course, they could always switch gear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying after like Infinity War and all that runs its course. Who's to say that at the end of this next Spider-Man film, something happens to Miles Morales and he becomes another Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And, that's where our next arc comes into play with all these newer, younger heroes.
Now, the other reference I want to talk about is the Amazing Spider-Man number 33 moment. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
No, because, like...
Okay, this is the moment where... the Vulture has set his wings to cut down these support beams, and they fall in.
Yeah. Okay.
Now this was a huge moment in Amazing Spider-Man number 33, like way back. Like, this is the original number 33, where he talks himself up. He's like, I can't let myself go out like this. Like he's like, do it for Aunt May, do it for Mary Jane. Like he brings himself to bringing all this crap off of him. It's an epic moment. It was so great during the movie. I was scared for him because he's this kid and he's crying.
I was the emotion to that scene
because he's so fucking scared. Like
he's scared. You can tell that he's reached what seems to be like the end of his energy.
Not to mention the fact that he's been fighting here, he's been fighting there. He's probably worn out to a certain extent at least. Such a perfect way to bring in an iconic moment. And you don't know how iconic, because this moment has happened in the comics so many fucking times. I was reading this article, and I think it had at least 6 instances where this happened, including the original Spider-Man 33. And the one I'm most familiar with is actually from Amazing Spider-Man number 578 and 579, where this subway is collapsing, and I can't remember exactly who causes this to happen, but Spider-Man is holding up all this rubble just to save these people from until the last one gets out, and I think it does collapse in on him, and I'm pretty sure he's able to muscle his way out of that. Yeah, muscle his way out of that one. But because I had those in the other room. But yeah, it was just this super iconic Spider-Man moment attached to another iconic Spider-Man moment because he's looking in that puddle before he finds the will, and it's got his mask has fallen in the puddle. And he's seeing his reflection, but half of the mask is also popping out over this puddle. So it creates that half Spider-Man, half Peter Parker duality thing that we've seen a million times. Know and love moments. So it's got those references. It's got a million other references.
Too many for us to really go over
from
here.
Marvel Cinematic Universe to the actual comics. Dislikes. There's got to be something you didn't like in this movie.
It's like we always say, the first time I go and see a movie, I'm watching it with rose-colored glasses on. I'm sucked in. I'm watching. I'm loving every minute of it. And it's hard for me to find things to not like the first time through.
Right. But you've had some time. You've had some time to think about this one, obsess over this one. It had to have been something that rubbed you wrong. Really?
It's hard because there were so many little things in this that I appreciate, the spider signal. I love that they included that in, and from the newer stuff, the multiple uses of the web. I wish he wouldn't have walked away from Tony at the end.
Right? The Iron Spider-Man suit, yeah.
You know,
which, mark my words, and I turned to my son and I told him this. I was like, I bet we see that in Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, yeah, okay, granted, it didn't have, like, the 3 golden legs.
Well, we don't know that.
Right.
Because they do retract it.
Yeah, it could be, you know, on the back of it. But I don't like... this sounds so bad. I don't like how they teased us with that.
I don't like the thing I thought was really awesome, but I didn't get to see it through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a better way to go about it.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot more sense because we're not ready for that suit yet.
We're not.
Yeah. And I don't think we're. Yeah. He's not, and we're not. Like, he just joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'd be rushing it for sure.
Yeah. Wasn't really a fan of some of the Aunt May scenes. Like I appreciated all of them because of the Aunt May aspect of them, but I don't like how much they did play up like how young and attractive Aunt May is.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was not subtle, but it was
I
well placed enough. But yeah. If there's anything I didn't like about that is maybe her ignorance, but we don't actually know if it's ignorance or if she's just like playing dumb in front of Peter.
Judging by a reaction, I don't think she's playing dumb.
Yeah.
But, you know, she never lets him know that until one point that, you know, she knows that he's been sneaking out.
There's a point later on, where she reveals, like, she knows all this shit. Whereas if, just an hour ago in the film, like, if you were to buy into her act, you would think that maybe she didn't know he was doing all this.
Yeah.
Total trust and shit. But no, it turns out she's been wise to his bullshit this whole time. Like, so honestly, that's one of the things that leads me to think that maybe she's playing dumb in front of Peter. Like, she doesn't necessarily, I don't get it that the waiter is hitting on me, blah, 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 type thing. Because she's out with her nephew and she's not interested. And the reason she's not interested is one of the things that that bothers me about this film. There's absolute zero Uncle Ben presence. Now, we don't need to see him getting shot. I already said that. We know Spider-Man's weapons. We've seen it. You know, he doesn't have to die in this film for him to be a part of this film because Uncle Ben, much like Ma and Pa Kent are for Superman, is a pivotal factor for Peter Parker. Like, he was there to raise him, you know?
We never hear those words either.
We don't have to either. And that's what I'm saying. We don't have to hear with great power comes great responsibility. The two don't have to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
He just has to act like a father figure. Like, even if it was just like a fucking picture that he looks at and gets sad for the love of God. Like, or everything, the quote, everything that's been going on with Aunt May lately. If you'd attacked on, like, with Uncle Ben and then left it at that, we know you just gotta say it. Like, there seems to be zero Uncle Ben presence.
Yeah.
Now, this also leads me to think, like, maybe there isn't an Uncle Ben. We don't know what he means when he says everything that's been going on with May lately. We don't know. Like, could be so that she's still relatively young. Maybe the thing that's going on with her is that she like lost this big company, or like maybe she
there has to be an Uncle Ben. There's a Spider-Man, there's an Uncle Ben.
There has to be. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is, or there's going to be. And there's zero fucking presence. Yeah. And that bothers the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
It didn't have to be a linchpin. It didn't have to be a big part of the movie, but a couple references would have been nice.
Yeah.
In closing here, I wrote nerd out. Which I think we've done sufficiently throughout this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't like fucking gone off on that's really, really fucking cool?
Unlocking the training wheels program. Like taking that off and realizing how not ready for that suit he was. Once Karen came into play.
Which Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah. Like, I loved that entire aspect of Karen. Like, started out as suit lady?
Yeah, he kept calling her suit lady.
And then, like, eventually called her Karen. And it's great because it's this highly interactive like borderline emotional program in this suit.
And you feel that like it's definitely got some AI because you get that during the where he's trapped inside the DODC.
And then even later, when he's talking to her about...
It's been 37 minutes. Are you kidding me? It's like, I gotta get out of here.
But then, he tells her about his crush on Liz, and then in the elevator scene, she's like, now's the perfect time. Kiss her.
Which, kind of almost a callback to the Amazing Spider, the Tobey Maguire.
He's upside down, like it could have been the kiss, and then he falls. It was great.
Yep.
Honestly, unlocking the suit was probably one of my favorite parts because it had some of the better moments I felt. Like the entire instant kill mode.
Oh my god! Yeah, I started. No! What? Instant kill mode? Why the hell, Tony? You programmed this fucking thing. What the hell? Like for real? As if you weren't already distrustworthy. Instant kill mode. What the fuck?
But and the other thing is, it goes as soon as it's activated. Congratulations on completing your rigorous training.
Yeah.
So Tony had planned this whole time to put him through a training regimen.
Yeah, right.
But who knows when? And obviously, Peter got fed up with being babied. And also, like, not Ganke, being the man in the chair.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to say. Like, branching off from your nerd out moment there, like, I enjoyed more when Spider-Man has stolen the car from Flash Thompson. He doesn't really know how to drive. So he's Ganke is the man in the chair, and he's like trying to track down this thing. Like on one side of the room, he's doing these legit
he's
man in the chair
school
thing.
Computer lab.
Yeah. He's doing these legit, like he's tracking this thing and all that, and then he has to switch to the other side to do this, to look up the specs on this car so he can tell Peter how to turn on the headlights.
Yeah.
Because neither one of them know, because they've never really driven before. And it's like, it's the high school thing again. Spider-Man needs to track this thing, and he needs all this information on this one guy. And these are like these high class, like spy shit like that they're doing. And then on the other side, they're trying to figure out how to work the fucking headlights on this car.
And the teacher walks in. What are you doing?
I'm looking at porn.
and
that's a big admission. Like, that's, again, the whole high school thing coming into play.
It's believable.
He's been caught. And, like, in a big stakes situation, like there would be this whole fucking maybe an action scene or a big explanation, but the big throwing myself under the bus moment for my buddy is admitting that I was just looking at porn in the school library. And that's his cover. It's so great. Yeah. No, I think we've sufficiently nerded out about 90% of this.
We definitely have.
There's the whole sequence. We pretty much got to see it in the trailers where he's like being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man with the bike and the churro and all that shit. Yeah, it's in the trailers.
It's like he's giving Happy lines like, I didn't really need to tell him about the churro.
Why did I do that? Oh, then he almost falls, but then he catches his phone and he's standing sideways.
He's like, oh!
Building. So, yeah, there are a lot of really cool, fun little moments in this movie. Final thoughts, though. Is it everything you wanted it to be? Does it plug in? Is it the best Spider-Man movie?
When you sit and you look, I always try to take like the first trilogy, and the second two, like
the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
I try to group them together, and it's really not fair to the first trilogy to include the third one in that, because that was just it could have been good, but it just turned into a steaming pile of shit.
Adjust for inflation.
Right.
Like not in the literal money sense, but like, oh, the graphics were this in 2004, and now it's 2017. Like, adjust those graphics for inflation.
Right. But Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, with Tobey Maguire, those were great movies. And those really helped kick off all of this.
Yeah.
So we have to give those credit where credit is due. But
well, I mean, even before those movies, and ever since then, especially, Spider-Man has always been really the top grossing.
Oh yeah.
Superhero. Without the movies, people fucking love this character. This is triples in merchandise sales of any other character, including Batman.
Yeah.
He like when they put the world's greatest superhero on their most recent Spider-Man books. Honestly, I can't argue it. Like most popular would probably be more accurate, but yeah, sure, why not world's greatest?
But would I call this the best Spider-Man film? I think I could. Like I could put it neck and neck.
No. This one, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Honestly, I think I enjoyed it as thoroughly as I possibly could while I was watching it. And I did not put on the rose-colored glasses once. I watched it objectively. I watched it holding it in line with the other Marvel Cinematic movies and in line with the other Spider-Man movies. And honestly, this is definitely my second favorite.
First being
my first being, and I had to take a step back to think about this because I knew this wasn't my first. Like after watching it and thinking about it, I knew right away it wasn't my first favorite. It wasn't the best, in my opinion, anyways. It made me think about all the other ones, and the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, really cool, really great movie, and a lot of stuff we'd never seen at the time. Yeah. Iconic moments, like an upside down kiss in the rain. Spider-Man 3 is obviously out. Amazing Spider-Man's pretty good, and Amazing Spider-Man 2 has its problems, where it also gives us some pretty iconic moments. A great Electro, and the moment with the death of Gwen Stacy. It's heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
Well played. But Spider-Man 2 is really probably my favorite Spider-Man movie. It has one or two problems, but it's just tiny stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, it's a pretty solid film. Yeah. It's a really great visual film. The moment where he walks away from the spider suits, another great iconic Spider-Man moment. And you got J. Jonah Jameson. It was the most MJ I ever felt that MJ might have been. Yeah. Because when you see MJ in the comics in distressful situations, she comes off more like that. Like awkward love interest situations. So she still wasn't MJ that we all know and love. Still Kirsten Dunst and pull it out for this one. But even with its flaws, it's my favorite. I enjoy it far more. Like just thinking about the movie. And maybe I need to watch it again to make sure. But I've seen it so many times. This is definitely an easy second, though. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it is probably one of my favorites. It may make top 5, maybe number 5 on my top 5. But it was not as great as I expected. And that's not to take anything away from it. It's still great. It's still awesome. It's still fun. And it is everything we've really wanted from Spider-Man for a long time. It's the balance we've always wanted. I don't know. There's something about
Sony name tag to
it. There's just something about Spider-Man 2 that rings forward more. Yeah. And I mean, with Civil War having been a thing, and Winter Soldier having been a thing, and Iron Man 1 being a thing. There's so many great movies that came before it.
Right.
And then Infinity War's right around the fucking corner. Of course, it's probably going to drop down in my ratings. So, yeah. In closing, that's what we think of Spider-Man Homecoming. It was pretty cool. If you haven't seen it yet, and even with all our spoilers, still go see it. There's stuff we didn't talk about. There's one really big moment we didn't talk about, and
specifically so that you'll go and see it.
Yeah, and it's really, honestly, when you see it, you'll be like, "Holy shit! Fucking really?"
Like I said, when it happened, I spoke out loud in here. I'm like, "Oh shit!"
When it happened, I was tapping my son on the shoulder, and I was like, and I told him what was about to happen. I can't say it.
Yep.
I can't say it. But before we know, for a fact, before the visuals on screen tell us, right before that, I was like, oh shit. See, that was the moment I caught it. Yeah, and I feel like we perfectly avoided talking about it. There's still no way anyone can tell. So yeah, go see this movie if for nothing else than that moment alone. But it's Spider-Man. Go fucking spend the money. We want them to make more. The more money this makes, the more inclined Sony will be to work with Marvel. Or they'll do the really stupid thing and be like, oh, wait a minute, Spider-Man does make money. We want him back. Because that's Sony.
And Marvel's going to be like, nah.
So, hopefully. And we already know he's in Infinity War.
Yeah.
So, guys, check out our last episode of Sorta My Podcast. Came out yesterday. And this one was really cool. We had Travis, my brother, Dr. T. Neal, with us, filling in for Bob. It added a little something interesting. And it's a little more streamlined. Not as long as our normal podcast.
Actually, this looks to run a little bit longer.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist and Dragon Ball Evolutions are our most recent communist commentary. Those are up on right here on SoundCloud. Hopefully that's where you're listening to this too. Maybe on iTunes as well. Guys, we're doing a YouTube revival, and episode 3 of the podcast is already up on YouTube. This week should herald in episode 4 to the YouTube channel, and we also posted a TriCon 2016 video that's really, 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 really bad. I'm not proud of my editing or the way you guys shot it or anything. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I uploaded it, but I did, and it's up there, Sorta My Vlog. So, guys, you can like us on Facebook at Sorta My Brand and Sorta My Comics. Like Sorta My Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Again, like I said, SoundCloud, iTunes, we're on both of those. You should follow us and like our posts on there. And as always, comment whatever you think. If you disagree with something we said in this review, is what this was. Yeah, let us know what you thought of it. What were your favorite moments? What were your favorite characters? And please do not spoil. If you know what we've been avoiding, don't spoil it. I'll delete that right away.
Yeah.
I will delete your comment.
Don't be that
Don't be that guy. I will delete it so fast. Anyways, guys, my name has been the human Vincent Herman.
Alpha Spectre, James Odle.
This has been sort of my update. Goodbye. We don't have... I don't know if we use the regular outro music on this. I'll listen to the last one.